Today, we're diving into a mystery that is honestly so huge it feels almost cinematic. We're talking about why life itself, at its most fundamental microscopic level, is totally asymmetrical. It's a puzzle that's baffled scientists for decades, starting way before our oceans even had names, and ending right inside, well, your very own cells.
So, let's jump right into this incredibly bizarre question. Out of all the countless chemical possibilities in the entire universe, why on earth did life choose one specific biological direction for its sugars and amino acids? I mean, why are we essentially left-handed when it comes to the building blocks of our proteins? It's a puzzle that goes way, way beyond your basic high school chemistry.
To really grasp the scale of this, just look at your own hand for a second. Inside your body, right at this very moment, there are nearly 37 trillion cells. That's a massive number. And each one of those cells is performing millions of reactions every single second. But here's the kicker. Every single one of those reactions relies on a hidden molecular asymmetry to keep you alive. Literally, if this asymmetry somehow flipped, biology as we know it would just instantly stop.
All right, let's kick things off with part one, the mirrors and the sugars.
So the absolutely crucial point we need to understand here is a concept called chirality. The word actually comes from the Greek word for hand, and it basically means nature can create identical chemical twins. We're talking molecules with the exact same atoms and the exact same bonds, but they are non-superimposable mirror images. Think of it exactly like your left and right hand. No matter how you twist or turn them, they will never perfectly overlap, right?
Now, when it comes to 6-carbon sugars, also known as hexoses, there are 16 possible three-dimensional shapes. They all share the exact same chemical formula, C6H12O6. But here is where it gets crazy. Against all mathematical odds, biology overwhelmingly ignores 15 of them. It runs almost entirely on just one, D-glucose.
When we look at D-glucose side by side with its exact mirror twin L-glucose, we see they hold the exact same chemical energy. They have the same mass, the exact same atoms. Honestly, if you were to burn them, they'd release the exact same amount of heat. Yet your biology completely ignores the L version. To your cells, L-glucose is completely useless, and it is purely because of its three-dimensional geometry.
Which brings us to part two, the ultimate biological lock. I want you to imagine the enzymes in your body as these highly advanced locks equipped with robotic hands. Let's take an enzyme like hexokinase. It has to grab a glucose molecule at very specific contact points to process it for energy. This is known as the four-hand rule. If even one of those molecular contact points is pointing in the wrong direction, like you'd see in a mirrored sugar, well, one of those robotic hands completely misses its target. The handshake fails. And because of that tiny structural misalignment, the binding energy drops and the cell instantly rejects the molecule. It's an absolutely uncompromising game of perfect 3D fit.
So why did D-glucose win out of those 16 possibilities? It wasn't just some random survivor. D-glucose actually has incredible structural stability in water as a pyranose ring. It also carries a way lower risk of glycation, which basically means it won't randomly attach to and damage your vital cellular proteins over time. Plus, it's highly efficient for stacking into glycogen for long-term energy storage. And crucially, as we just talked about, it has that perfect 3D compatibility with our gatekeeping enzymes like hexokinase. When you put it all together, it was quite simply the best candidate to become the central energy currency of evolution. Moving right along to part three, the cosmic coin toss.
Now, before life even existed, our primitive oceans were likely a perfect 50-50 mix of left and right-handed molecules. But as we know, nature rarely stays perfectly balanced. Scientists still debate exactly what tipped the scales. Some think it could have been circularly polarized starlight sweeping across the early solar system, literally destroying one molecular shape just a tiny bit faster than the other. Others suggest it might have been quartz crystals on early ocean floors acting as a template, naturally selecting specific shapes. Or, and this is wild, it could even be the weak nuclear force, which is actually the only fundamental force in all of physics that can distinguish left from right. But whatever that specific spark was, nature somehow developed a tiny microscopic chemical imbalance.
And this tiny imbalance triggered an unbelievable sequence of events. A slight advantage, say just 51% of left-handed amino acids, well, that doesn't stay small for long in chemistry. Through a process called autocatalysis, which is basically a chemical snowball effect, these molecules actually helped form copies of themselves, speeding up their own production. So that 51% quickly became 60, then jumped to 78, until it hit a true avalanche, amplifying itself to over 99% purity. Life didn't just casually choose a direction, it became completely and irreversibly locked into it.
Let's explore the fallout of that in Part 4, the mirror world consequence. This irreversible lock brings us to one of the darkest moments in medical history, the tragedy of thalidomide in the 1950s. It brilliantly but tragically proves that chirality is quite literally a life-or-death issue. You see, the R version of the molecule was an effective, helpful, and totally safe sedative. But its exact mirror image, the S version, was a devastating poison that caused severe birth defects. They had the exact same chemical formula, but a totally different biological result. It just goes to show that life requires absolute precision in its geometry.
Because of this incredibly strict geometry, try to imagine a mirror Earth. Picture a planet with the exact same chemistry, the same water, the same stars, but where that initial cosmic coin toss went the other way. Organisms there run exclusively on L-Glucose and D-Amino Acids. If you were to travel there, their food would look and smell perfectly fine to you, but would provide you exactly 0 ATP, your cell's basic energy currency. You would literally starve to death while eating a massive feast, simply because your enzymes couldn't unlock their mirror image sugars. Wild, right?
Finally, we arrive at Part 5, from asymmetry to humanity.
This molecular standardization we've been talking about is the absolute foundation of everything we know. Life didn't choose left or right because one side was inherently magical or chemically superior. Not at all. It simply amplified what worked to build a universal, interlocking language across all living things. Think of it like a staggeringly complex machine where every single gear has to mesh perfectly. The right-handed sugars provide the essential energy backbone, while the left-handed amino acids fold perfectly into the right-handed helices of our functional proteins. They lock together piece by piece across billions of years of evolution. From the simplest single-celled bacteria to incredibly complex metabolic pathways and all the way up to human consciousness itself, it all relies on this one unified molecular language. Every living creature on this planet shares this identical asymmetrical geometry.
I really want to leave you with this powerful thought. If you take away just one thing from this explainer, let it be this quote right here. The very boundary between living biology and dead chemistry comes down to a single microscopic three-dimensional geometry. Atoms and formulas just aren't enough. Life is quite literally a matter of shape.
So, the next time you look up at the night sky and think about the origins of the universe, you kind of have to wonder, don't you? Is there a mirrored life form out there right now, thriving on a distant world, running on the exact opposite chemistry? It's such a thrilling question, and it all comes back to the grand mystery of life's handedness.